Welcome back to part 2 of this series of how trauma impacts us. Today, I want to talk about how trauma impacts our being, right? To put it simply, trauma is trauma because of how we internalize an experience that happens to us or that we witness, right? So it impacts what makes up your internal world. And your internal world are your thoughts and your emotions. So today, I want to focus on your inner narrative and your self-talk. Your inner narrative is what you tell yourself about experiences and situations. And your inner self-talk is what you tell yourself about yourself, right? So both of these, your inner narrative and your self-talk, they come from your core belief system. So I don't know if you have, those of you who are watching, if you have ever seen the movie Inside Out, right? So in the movie, it depicts how our core belief systems are formed. And the way that our core belief system is formed is that you have an experience, you're going through a situation, and if that situation evokes an intense enough emotion, that becomes cemented in your mind. And what it does is that the belief is formed because the emotion was so intense and it was so significant. So our beliefs come actually from how we feel, right? And so those beliefs, right, become your thoughts. That's the system. So that the belief that forms from that experience, it becomes your thought processes, right? So your inner narrative, just to give a little example, it can sound like a story that's happening in your mind when you experience a situation. For example, you have a conflict with your spouse and the narrative in your mind starts, he never tends to me. He always shifts the blame. I'm not cared for. Now, your self-talk from that situation sounds like, I'm to blame for everything. I'm not lovable. So your self-talk says something about you, and the inner narrative is how you are experiencing the situation, right? I want to give a little bit of biblical encouragement. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The battle begins in the mind, and so that means that the battle has to be won in the mind. We have to be intentional about identifying how is our inner narrative and self-talk impacting my relationships, my worldview, my perspective, what is going on around me and what is going on with my emotions, right? And so be aware, identify, listen to what is going on within you, right? So I want to give you some practical tips to address how your inner narrative and self-talk are impacting you, which includes, number 1, acknowledge your feelings. Feel them. Unaddressed emotions lead to unprocessed thoughts that literally hijack your day-to-day. Number 2, identify the beliefs that are impacting your thoughts, right? And number 3, transform your thoughts by replacing them with truth. Your feeling is a feeling. What I like to say when I'm working with clients is that when you're feeling something, it is a compass to what is going on inside of you. It is a GPS to show you where to go to attend to that feeling, so that you can begin to replace those thoughts that are being birthed from the feelings that are not being tended to, right? And so replacing it with truth sounds like, I'm feeling sad and I am still loved. Or another, example can be, if you believe that you are hard to love, right? You can literally tell yourself, I am complex, but I am not hard to love, right? So that's just a brief example. I want you to be encouraged, right? We need to be able to identify in order to be equipped to change what is going on, right? So be empowered and be well.